Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving a quick lecture about E2 elimination reactions. So I'll title this lecture E2 reaction. Mechanisms. In an E2 reaction, we have two chemical entities. The first is a base, and it's reacting with a substrate. The substrate is the molecule with a leaving group. So the substrate and the base will react, and an alkene product is formed. And an alkene is just a compound molecule with a double bond. We call an E2 reaction a bimolecular elimination reaction. We call it bimolecular because we're depending on the concentration of the base and the concentration of the substrate. So the rate of the reaction depends on two chemical entities. Let's take a look at what happens during an E2 reaction. So let's take a look at a reaction mechanism. We'll have some base, and it'll be reacting with some compound, which we call the substrate. And the compound, this substrate, has a leaving group. Let me go ahead and draw in some hydrogens that are attached to these carbons here. So the first step that will happen is the base, there will be a proton transfer that occurs from the base with any one of these hydrogens. This will cause the formation of a double bond and the expulsion of this leaving group. So in the end, we get an alkene plus some leaving group here. So the only step that is happening during an E2 reaction is a proton transfer. Which causes the simultaneous expulsion of the leaving group. So some important things to note here is that first, the E2 reaction happens in one single step. Secondly, there are no intermediates, such as carbocation intermediates, being formed. So there are no intermediates being formed. We can also note that in an E2 reaction, the rate of the reaction will depend on the base as well as the substrate. So it depends on both of these two chemical entities. We can also note that tertiary substrates will undergo faster reaction than secondary or primary ones. And this is quite distinct from a SN2 reaction, because in SN2 reactions, there's a lot of steric hindrance with tertiary subjects. But in the case of an E2 mechanism, the tertiary substrates are actually preferred. So that's just a quick little lecture about E2 reaction mechanisms. In the next video, I'll go over the E1 reaction mechanism and what generally occurs in those types of reactions. But for now, make sure to follow, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.